But the last straw, as I had mentioned earlier, they have a worldview that children are sexual from birth and that they consent to sex, even with adults. And so the last straw was when I was training several clinics, several Planned Parenthood clinics in South Texas. And I was a Title X training manager. So I was going to train all of these clinics from South Texas on the key concepts of Title X. And one of those was human trafficking. And I had already, on my own time, had learned more about human trafficking, had been to some human trafficking conferences. And so I was armed with that information. And I thought, this is great. I'm going to finally be able to teach Planned Parenthood that these cases of statutory rape that they're seeing in the clinics are actual crimes and that they'll start to report them, because I knew they were not reporting when young girls were having sexual relations with adult men. And so I started to explain to them that now the laws had changed and that statutory rape fell under human trafficking and that it was a federal offense and that they needed to report it. And they rejected the information, and I could tell through body language and such that they were just like, nah, and I thought, well, maybe the reason that they're rejecting the information is because they're so used, there's this phenomena that many of these victims will protect their traffickers because of the brainwashing. And so I thought, maybe that's why they're confused. Maybe this is why they think that these girls are consenting, because they're actually protecting their trafficker, their violator. And so I explained that and said, but the point is that this is a minor child. Even if the girl's 16, she's a minor, you've got to protect her. This is now a federal offense and you need to report it and protect her. They continued to disagree with me. And I said, I give up. I don't understand. Why are you refusing to see these girls as victims? Why are you refusing to report it? And one of the nurses raised her hand and she said, honey, if she's not with this man this month, she'll be with another one next month. And they all agreed, about 300 people all agreed, 300 women, clinicians, educators, all agreed that these young girls were consenting to sex with adult men. And they gave a lot of crass, horrible reasons as to why a girl would want to be with an older man. It was very disgusting. And I finally said, you know what? You can believe that all you want, but here's the truth. It's the law, and you have to report it. Their next response was, don't ask, don't tell. If I don't ask the age of her sexual partner, then I don't have to tell. And so they refused to protect these young girls. So you need to understand, and your listeners need to understand, that Planned Parenthood, and there are many clinicians, the medical community believes this as well, that they have a right to these sexual behaviors, that they're consenting. And they have a very distorted view of our children. They have a distorted view of sexuality, and they're not there to protect our kids. I took this concept, this belief system, to a victim of human trafficking who is now a woman who advocates for victims of human trafficking. She helps counsel them. She's a leader in the community. And I asked her about this, and she said, the truth is that traffickers are masters of getting consent from women and children. And I said, what do you mean? And she said, they can convince a child and a woman to consent to sex. A child can be groomed by a trafficker so well that they can go to school, leave school, go to wherever she's told to go to have sexual activity with an adult, go home on her own, and go back to school the next morning. And she does that all voluntarily because she's been groomed and she's afraid. And now it looks like she's consenting.
Yeah.